We, all of us members of Parliament here, must always remember what this government has forgot. We are servants and not masters. It is the common people who are masters of this land.
I really don't trust politicians at all. I think they all got a shady past and things going on. So until they prove that they're trustworthy, which he hasn't, especially now the Christine Anderson thing, we went to see her and she's an amazing, wonderful woman. She's not hateful at all. And he had bad things to say about her and that was wrong.
Well, I'm here, in fact, first to meet Mr. Poilievre, a great personality, and definitely he's going to be our new Prime Minister for sure.
Efron Monsanto here reporting for Rebel News, and I'm here in Hamilton, Ontario, where a Pierre Poilievre event is taking place. Stay tuned, I'm going to show you everything that happened today. Before I show you how the Conservative leaders' rally in Steeltown went, first I have to show you what happened this morning in a local town nearby in Grimsby. These freedom fighters demonstrate every weekend on the corner of a main road Saturday at noon to spread awareness of freedom of choice and stand up against the ongoing vaccine mandates that many Canadians don't seem to know about. Some of the people here participated in their own convoy for Poilievre's event. Here's what they said.
Well, we're out here just to try and stay in the front of people and let people know that things still aren't smooth in Canada. Although a lot of people think that life is back to normal, it's not. There's a lot of infringement on our rights going on every single day by the governing Conservatives here in Ontario and the Liberals, in the federal. And we just want to keep people alert and awake to what's going on around us, the things that a lot of people are back to work and they think there's no mandates. Well, there are still a lot of rules and there are still mandates and there are still people who are suffering. People have been suffering for well over a year. People still aren't working because they've refused to take this injection, this experimental injection.
So what brings you out here today?
Fighting for my kids and my grandkids. We need freedom in this country and it's becoming communist and we don't want that. I don't want my grandkids growing up in a country like that. I've been out here since 2020, we went to Ottawa and we have been out every week, go to Toronto and everywhere. Been to Ottawa, just fighting, wherever I can fight. So I got to be here to bring attention to people, try to wake them up.
Down over in Hamilton, Pierre Poilievre is actually going to speak today. What are your thoughts on Pierre?
Well, he had a good chance to really stand up and be somebody different. And he's shown his true colors. And the true colors of all these major governments that we have right now, they'll say one thing, but when the pressure gets on them, they will flip and change their minds. He agreed with what we were doing, he agreed with Ottawa. He agrees with a lot of the things that we're doing, but when push comes to shove, to satisfy what is still the majority of the people, he will say whatever it takes to get elected. If he had principles and agreed with what he said before, then he would not have said what he said about Anderson. And that's basically it. He just showed his true colors.
I really don't trust politicians at all. I think they all got a shady past and things going on. So until they prove that they're trustworthy, which he hasn't, especially now the Christine Anderson thing, we went to see her and she's an amazing, wonderful woman. She's not hateful at all. And he had bad things to say about her and that was wrong. So no, I don't agree with what he's saying, and he was pushing the vaccine and there's a lot of other things that are kind of questionable. So.
And then, Pierre Poilievre is actually speaking like a town over in Hamilton. What do you think about him?
Pierre Poilievre, he's certainly better than Trudeau. If he's the best that we have, he's certainly better than Trudeau.
I continued to Hamilton, and if you like the work we do outside of the office, take a look at rebelfieldreports.com to see all of our team's journalism in the field. There you can also chip in towards our travel cost. Outside here at the event itself, there was the Freedom crowd outside making a point to those attending that they disliked Poilievre's condemnation of MEP Christine Anderson over her alleged vile and racist views.
Now, recently, two local Conservative MPs met with a German politician with extreme views, Nazi views as well. How did that meeting even happen, and what was the conversation like with the MPs afterwards that you had with them?
Well, I disagree with this politician, and I said so, and because I believe in freedom for everyone, and that includes immigrants and minorities. And I speak out against racism of all types, so especially the hideous and ugly racism of Justin Trudeau, who dressed up in racist costumes so many times. He says he can't remember them all.
However, she was famously known for calling out Trudeau's invocation of the Emergencies Act over the peaceful Freedom Convoy.
And a prime minister who openly admires the Chinese basic dictatorship, who tramples on fundamental rights by persecuting and criminalizing his own citizens as terrorists just because they dared to stand up to his perverted concept of democracy, should not be allowed to speak in this House at all. Mr. Trudeau, you are a disgrace for any democracy. Please spare us your presence. Thank you.
Here's what they had to say to me before I entered the event. So we're here outside of a Pierre Poilievre event. What brings you out here?
I want to make people aware that Pierre Poilievre stands for the woke community and other issues that I would not agree with. He's not clear enough on where he stands, and I think he's well supported.
I think Pierre is just liberal light. He's another woke career politician, and he won't be any different from Trudeau. Maybe a little bit. It's just bad in a different way.
Well, we want to make sure that our voices are heard. We're the outside crew just to bring attention. But he made some promises, and he's kind of made a few comments that make us think that maybe he's not on our side. And that's why we're here. We just want to see what he has to say.
What brings you out here today?
We got to be supportive, and we got to fight for our freedom. And there's really, to me, there's no right politician. They're all bad. You can't pick one. They're all the same.
So we're just here to show people that this is what abortion is, and Pierre Poilievre is in complete support of this. And so we're just showing people, like, is this okay?
Inside the venue, there was a full room of Conservative supporters, loud roars for Pierre's speech. Here are some of the highlights.
Being at a conservative rally in weather like this is that we know that all the snowflakes will be outside, right? Powerful, big pharmaceutical companies lied. They lied. They told our drug agencies in North America that their drugs were not addictive and that they were not lethal. And then they literally paid bonuses to the distributors of those drugs for the number of overdoses they could cause. McKinsey, Justin Trudeau's favorite consulting firm, whom he gave $100 million of contracts, actually wrote a strategy to turbocharge the sales of these drugs. And they preyed on working class people. People who lost their jobs and lost hope went to their doctor with a sore back, and they were given these drugs. And found that it not only helped with the sore back, but helped with the way they were feeling about life. And they got more and more addicted until they overdosed and died. These drug companies knew exactly what they were doing. In the 90s, we sued the tobacco companies for the costs they put on our healthcare system. Now what we must do in Canada is what they've done in the United States. We need to sue these big pharmaceutical companies to make them pay the full price of the treatment and recovery. And we will take that money. We will take the money that we recover from that, those are the lawsuits. And we will do what Alberta is doing. We will double the number of treatment spaces so that we can take our brothers and sisters off the streets. We can detox them, give them counseling, give them hope, give them a chance to start their lives over. We can do it. We're going to save our brothers and sisters from this pandemic of drug abuse, aren't we? That is the goodness, the greatness, and even the genius of the common people, the common sense of the common people, striving for the purpose of their common home. Our common democratic home is the House of Commons. That's why it has its name. It's green because the first commoners met in the fields of England, and over 800 years they wrestled power away from the aristocracy and the crown to make themselves masters in their own homeland. We, all of us members of Parliament here, must always remember what this government has forgot. We are servants and not masters. It is the common people who are masters in this land. We must bring home their common sense. Make common sense common again here in Canada, right? And this is our home. This is your home. Let us bring it home. In the words of the great Canadian Prime Minister, John Diefenbaker, I am a Canadian, a free Canadian, free to speak without fear, free to stand for what I think right, free to oppose what I believe wrong, free to worship God in my own way, free to choose those who shall govern my country. This heritage of freedom I pledge to uphold for myself and for all mankind. Thank you very much. God bless Canada.
Afterwards, I spoke to some of the people on why they chose to come out here today.
All right, so what do you think of Pierre's speech today? I think he spoke excellent. I think he touched on a lot of points, pain points of Canadians, and I'd like to see our current Prime Minister give a speech like that. Thanks.
So yeah, what brings you guys out here today?
Well, we're supporters of the Conservative Party and Poilievre. We think he's going in a great direction, and we think in many respects the country's gone the wrong path. So we're here to support him.
Well, I'm here, in fact, first to meet Mr. Poilievre, a great personality, and definitely he's going to be our new Prime Minister for sure.
Pierre Poilievre is the best. I've been listening to him for 4 years plus. Nothing has ever made more sense, and I'm passionate about young people getting out and seeing Pierre Poilievre and listening to his message.
Came out for the support. He's nearby. Had to take the opportunity while I was in the area. It's like, yeah, got to support this guy.
Honestly, just really wanted to come see Pierre and see what it's all about.
Yeah, to see our issues expressed in the general public with people that relate to our issues and stuff like that, represent true Canadians, you know? Yeah.
We got to do something. I know that my wife here is always telling me to simmer down, and because of the high cost of inflation, the high cost of fuel, the ups and downs, and I got a feeling that there's market control. It's like he said, like Pierre said in there, that there was, the big boys are making the big bucks, and the little guys paying the cost. And it really doesn't matter. You can't really ever get away from it. The thing is, it's always in your face. It's if you go buy gas, you go buy a pair of pants, if you buy groceries, you heat your house.
One thing that everyone I spoke to that day agreed was that Trudeau is in trouble over the news of the alleged CSIS, Canadian Security Intelligence Service, leaks that show that the Chinese Communist Party aided in helping Liberal MP Han Dong get elected among 10 other politicians. When this information was brought from CSIS to Trudeau, he continued through with accepting his nomination against CSIS's recommendation to revoke it. When questioned over the last couple of days, the Prime Minister has now called it racist to question Han Dong.
One of the things we've seen, unfortunately, over the past years is a rise in anti-Asian racism linked to the pandemic. and concerns being arisen around people's loyalties. I want to make everyone understand fully that Han Dong is an outstanding member of our team, and suggestions that he is somehow not loyal to Canada should not be entertained.
What do you think about the recent CSIS leaks that show alleged Chinese Communist Party interference in our elections?
It doesn't surprise me at all. We've known this for a long time. It's coming up now, I would imagine, as a way to get Trudeau to resign, which he should. For whatever reason, he should resign.
I'm not surprised.
Well, the leaks are just great, and the leaks are just, it's nice to see that there are maybe some honest people in CSIS who actually want to put the truth out. The fact that Trudeau is worried about the leaks is insane. Why are you worried about the leaks? If you did nothing wrong, you wouldn't have to worry about leaks. Why are you worried about leaks? So I'm glad to see that some people have a conscience and are letting it be known. It's nice to see that a lot of people are agreeing with us. You know, anybody who's paying attention right now, listening in, they don't see what we see on the corner here all the time. And there are a lot of people who are of the same mind as us, and they will honk when they go by. But a lot of people are just afraid to let their positions be known because of what their friends might say, you know, and they throw their consciences aside and just go along with what they think is the norm.
I'm not shocked at all. I think that do we have an enemy of freedom or not? Do we have an enemy of freedom or not is always my, if we do, and all of our sons have fought for that for years, wouldn't it be that that enemy is always trying to infiltrate?
Can't say I'm surprised. I think CSIS has basically had enough of being suppressed and ignored, and is coming out, right? They're leaking stuff because they're fed up. So I'm glad it's come out, and I think it's going to be damning for the Liberals.
Ditto. And we have to get the Trudeau government out.
I don't know why it's not going deeper, and someone like Jagmeet is letting this slide and not having the independent thing. It's like, this should be the thing that turns the tide. And if it doesn't, there's some serious shit going wrong.
Maybe we'll ban TikTok.
If you agree that you think it's wrong for the Communist Party to have any sort of interference in our elections, head over to firedong.com to call for Trudeau to fire his MP. There at that same website, you can send an email to the MP and Trudeau's office to send a message. Right, thanks for watching. If you want to see more reports like this, head over to rebelfieldreports.com. You can chip in towards our travel costs. We can bring you stuff like this in the field that you're not going to see anywhere else. Thanks again.